Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Eagle Eye Podcast. It's episode 18. We're that much closer to episode 20. And today we got so much to talk about. We're going to be breaking down our Liguilla matchup against Pumas. And we'll also be talking a little bit about what the team displayed last week against Santos Laguna. So we got so much to talk about, so much to break down. And as always, the man helping me out today is Mr. Dylan Jimenez. Dylan, how are we?
Oh man, we're doing good actually. Coming off a good weekend down here in Texas, so I can't complain much.
It was a really good weekend, all in all. Of course, it's always a good weekend whenever your team wins. Of course, even though it wasn't the most convincing win, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. It still wraps up the weekend pretty nicely. So, did you go see Avengers?
No, I didn't go see that yet, but somebody already spoiled it for me, so I know how it ends.
Wow, someone already spoiled it for you. All right, so you know what? That means we're gonna spoil it for all of you guys. So, spoiler alert. Sorry, I'm just kidding. No, if you guys have a chance to go watch the movie, you know what though? I think America should do their own sort of like movie. I know people will say like, "Oh, we're gonna be copying Chivas," but like, I think our movie would be a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be interesting to see that though. Maybe I should get on that and direct it or something.
Yeah, so Santiago Baño, call us up 1-800-333-44455 and we'll make it happen for you. So, we ready to talk about everything Aguilas?
Yeah, definitely ready.
Alrighty, well, let's jump into what was this Saturday's match against Santos Laguna. We closed off the regular season, the regular tournament, the Clausura, with a home win against, of course, the Laguneros, who were in second place beforehand. And because of that victory, we ended up jumping to second place. And I think you owe the listeners a little bit of an apology because you had mentioned that we needed at least 2 goals.
Yes, I do. I do apologize for that. I wasn't really thinking, because like we score once, so like Santos's goal differential would change just for that one goal. So I'm thinking we need 2 goals to go ahead of them, but it was just that one that we needed. So just basically needed the W to get to second place, which is what we did.
And we did so. So we got that W. We're in second place, and because of that, as things occurred, and I know you were following these events pretty closely from the fact that Monterrey and Tigres drew, which helped us out a lot, and from the fact that Pumas, of course, then ended up, did they drew or did they won?
I think they drew. Let me double check on that.
Well, you double check either way. Everything's been said and done. We end up getting second place. We end up going, and at the end of the day, we're looking at this Liguilla with hopes of hopefully clinching that 13th title.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Pumas drew Querétaro 1-1. I see that too. And funny thing too in our group chat that we have, Ivan, with those other Americanistas is Christian. Shout out to Christian. He pointed out. I think the last time America won the title was whenever we had Pumas in the first round. So, maybe it's a repeat in history.
And we also had Piojo Herrera as manager. So.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that that history has a tendency of repeating itself right now. So, shout out to, like you said, shout out to the little group chat we got going on. Shout out to everyone here in the live chat right now, in the live podcast. We always love interacting with every single one of you guys. It makes our day just that much more better, really, and enjoyable. But like we said, it looks like history is repeating itself. I don't want to jump too much into that just yet. I want to briefly talk about the Santos Laguna game because whilst we did get the W, whilst we are in second place, there's still much more that we need to work on. And we're coming into this Liguilla with not our best rhythm. We're definitely not playing like the second place team in the league, and I think that's the most worrisome part about this.
Yeah, you see how the team plays going into the first half, and in this first half actually, and going into the second, but you don't really see a shift in play until you see the likes of like Jeremy Menez and Cecilio Dominguez come on too, changing that play and that style, and you see how they really do help out the attack a lot too, and it's something that is good for the team, but also bad because it's something that we can't always rely on too. We got to come together as a team to get those things going too as well. It can't be just those certain players.
Yeah, it can't be those certain players, and the reason why is because we built this team so it can have depth, so it can have various different type of players that can come in and do virtually the same job. For example, we would all hope that Ibargüen could come and slot in Cecilio Dominguez spot if he ever got injured, and Renato Ibarra spot if whatever. If any of those two ever got injured, you would have imagined Renato Ibarra would have filled that position. And the sad thing about it is, it looks like he's only been filling one position, and that's Darwin Quinteros.
Yeah, and you see too, Line is getting his opportunities too as well, and you see Line is doing Line's things too, and you kind of expect more from Ibargüen too. Whenever the stuff you seen him do against Toronto in the first leg, whenever that happened too, and you just want to see that current form go forward too, as well. As the game went on, I noticed that Ibargüen was mostly working on the left with Linus, behind Odiva Peralta. One thing that I was thinking to myself that I think could have helped the creativity too a little bit is if at times, they switched between each other. Because, we have seen Linus play on that left side too. And we've seen Ibargüen play behind Odiva Peralta too as well. And, the way Oribe works too, he sits back and comes back a lot, almost like if he's almost a midfielder too. And it seems like Ibargüen's the striker. I wanted to see maybe if they switched like throughout the game. Just invertedly just switch too a lot. I wonder if that would help out a lot too with the attack. Maybe the defenders would have noticed that they switched. You know what I'm trying to say? We're trying to get at.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've been talking about, the creativity. Having these kind of sort of interchanges with each other would be a smart thing to do, especially in a game like this where the defense is really opening up. It looks like whenever you're getting man marked, it looks like the player already knows kind of what your rhythm is, what your movement is, and if you were to say what if they were done what you said, then it kind of would throw them off balance a little bit.
Yeah, it's just something like we always say, the creativity is not there. I feel like that's something that would have helped out a lot too if we would have thrown that in there.
Yeah, it would have completely. So let's talk about this matchup because it obviously was the closing matchup of the Clausura for us. We also debuted a jersey, the green one. What are your thoughts on that, real quickly?
I
mean, some people are loving it. Some people,
yeah. I mean, they're okay. I mean, I don't. I personally probably wouldn't buy one. I think they're okay. I know some people don't like it. I know some people love it, but where do you see green though in all of America's colors?
If you mix blue and red, don't you get green?
I don't know. I'm not really good at my colors.
So anyone who does color mixtures, let us know. I'm pretty sure it's blue and red. But either way, I mean, the idea was it was more of a kind of like, yo, shout out to the Mexican national team. It's a World Cup year, yada yada yada, kind of like we did 4 years ago. I mean, still, it's kind of like, why at this point? But it is what it is at this point. Whatever's, So it that shouldn't even be the main concern because that was not what was central around this matchup. The real thing that we should be worrying about was the fact that we throughout the 90 minutes didn't really have much clear chances until the second half. I would have to say, we kind of didn't work our way through the first 45 minutes, and it looked like Santos Laguna at times dictated the match better than we did.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now. I'll go ahead and give you some of the stats, some key stats I think that are important. Throughout the whole game, it was 50-50 on ball possession. America had 14 total shots. 5 of them were on target. Just completed 80% of our passes. I mean,
but
what is it?
What does that really say, though? I mean, 80% of our passes, but look what we were passing through most of the time. It wasn't in the final third. Most of the passes that we were doing was playing out the back and really just in the midfield. We really didn't have much going forward.
You know what? Never mind. I lied to you. Well, we completed 79% of our passes. I was looking at the wrong side. We only had 10 shots, and 3 of them were on target.
10 shots, 3 on target. I mean, what again? It's showing that we need to practice our finishing. I mean, even though we've been saying this from maybe day one of the Clausura, and to the fact that we still haven't gotten to this point, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's all coming down to the training ground too, man. And things that we said, like working that creativity, working our decisions in the final third too. I mean, all that stuff's going to come down to if you're going to have the shots or not. And you saw that too in the first half a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It was very frustrating. Shout out to Carlos who is giving us our answer, Mr. Carlos Serna. Blue and yellow makes green, so not red and blue. I think red and blue make purple. So shout out to Carlos. Yeah, big shout out to Carlos too, who his baby boy turned 2 years old this Saturday. Huge shout out to him. We live in the same city, and because of this podcast, I was able to make friends with him. He invited me over. We watched the game at his house with while the party was going on as well. So shout out to him. Beautiful family. Just amazing stuff that we can convey in stuff like this because of something so simple as speaking into a microphone, talking about a team you support. So again, shout out to him. And shout out to every single one of you guys who have listened to us, who have grown with us, who want this thing to become just an even bigger and better community. And that's really what we're striving for, a community. So again, shout out to him, shout out to every single one of you. And let's just I just hope that you guys can convey that same kind of, connection, not just with us, but with each other as well. So, for those of you who maybe don't have much Americanista friends because, for whatever reason, and, if you find someone who lives in the same city or whatever, and you guys want to meet up and start a friendship off of that, then by all means do so. I mean, it's all about spreading the game and kind of growing it. So, two heads are always better than one in that sense.
Yes, yeah, I completely agree with you, man. Shout out to every single one of you. I mean, after this, me and Ivan got some talking to do about our giveaway, which I mean, I think we're slacking on a little bit, but I mean, we'll definitely have that out ready for y'all too whenever the time comes.
Yep. So again, follow us on Twitter. You guys will know exactly how everything's gonna go down. Our Twitter page is at Eagle iPod. Again, that is at Eagle iPod. Now, I went on a complete tangent, but it was a good tangent. Let's go back into the game and let's talk frustration because it was a full match of frustration. I think whether you were watching it at a 2-year-old's birthday party or whether you're watching it at the comfort of your own home, you were still kind of looking and yelling at the screen because there was very little of spark, like a spark going on in the match throughout the whole time. I saw this America side look a bit sluggish, even though we had sometimes most of the ball. There wasn't really an umph. There wasn't really a let's go out there and let's go get it. There was more of a caution. Let's touch the ball. Let's move around. Let's see if we can break down this defense. And no one really took the extra risk. Even Linus at times didn't really take a risk, or maybe he did, but he got very, very well marked. And in that sense, I was expecting other people to help him out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, it's all 11 players in one, man. It can't just be one person, just frustration everywhere, man. Especially in the first half, I feel like we couldn't even string a couple passes together, and that's what was the most frustrating part for me too. Is seeing that we can't string a few passes together. It seemed like as the game went on, I feel like it got a little better, but I know we can do better because I've seen this team do better, and two, you're not seeing that create a spark until you have the likes of like I said, Menez and Cecilio Dominguez come on.
And that shouldn't really be the issue at all. We should have enough of a deep bench pool that we can bring off talented players like Ibargüen, like Diego Lainez, that can come in and do the job, And let me ask you this question: Mateus Uribe got a red card. Do you think we were maybe missing him in this matchup?
I think so a little bit, because to me, Mateus Uribe brings a whole lot, and really, it just seems to be missing that too. I mean, you don't get the same thing from Giovanni Corona whenever he starts or he comes in. It seems like Giovanni Corona is just going to sit back, be back there with Guido, hold down the fort a little bit, and you see Mateus Uribe, you've seen him go forward. You see what the guy can do. You see the chances this guy can create too. And so it's just something that we were lacking. I feel like Mateus Uribe being absent in this game was a big loss to the team too as well. Because I know Mateus knows that he can leave Guido if he's next to Guido. He can leave Guido and know Guido can get the job done by himself because that partnership's been and that partnership's grown.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that we really don't have another player like Mateo Soriba. There really is no player that can come off the bench and do virtually what he does. I mean, many people could maybe say if you stick Linus in that position, but Linus maybe is more of a winger than a central midfielder that can attack. But either way, I think Mateo Soriba is the only player in that America roster that can do what he's been doing. You can't really slot Joe Benny Corona there, like you said. That's not his game. He's more of a central defensive midfielder. He holds the mid more than actually try to provoke an attack. Like we've mentioned Guido. He does what he does, and he doesn't really, do much of the attacking himself. He's more of a distributor. So there isn't really anyone right there that kind of links up with Ibarra or whoever playing down on the left that can kind of create a spark like that too. Because his runs off the ball are fantastic, and he's found himself in so many good opportunities and so many good positions in countless of matches that it just goes to show you how well this player is. Unfortunately, right now we've mentioned it. He's not going through his best phase, but a lot of people talked about it last podcast. Maybe because he got this red card, he will be kind of rested, and he will be maybe a little bit more energetic come the Liguilla.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. Um, let's see what he does because this player is a beast. Like you said, he's in the right place at the right time for most of his opportunities, and he usually buries them.
Yeah, he usually does. So, I mean, let me now that we know that he's gonna be back, and now that we know that some of these players are gonna be back, what is the situation gonna be with Diego Lainez? And someone asked if we think that Diego Lainez will now be an option off the bench because I mean, previously he kind of wasn't. He was kind of maybe fourth, fifth option at best. And now he looks like he stepped up his game. It looks like Piojo now kind of has him in his sights. Do you think that maybe he gets a little bit of a favor when it does come time to maybe make a substitution?
I think so. I mean, you see his game grow too. Whenever he finally made his debut in the Clausura, you see what this kid can do, and this kid was the spark of that team. And so, I feel like he's gained Piojo's trust, and Piojo's come to respect him too more to say, hey, if we need you, we're gonna play you. And so, and obviously too, you've seen that whenever we had a couple of injuries too, Linus stepped up. I feel like he had to took his chance good, and he's been taking that and he's been riding it. And so I feel like he's gonna have a good chance to come off the bench if he's needed.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we can both agree that we think Linus was probably going to be now what second, third option coming off the bench, and especially if we're down a goal or we need to go real quickly. I think he's definitely going to be one of those versatile options because again, it's kind of the same thing with Mateo Zariba. There really isn't a player like him, so quick, so versatile. The way he moves on and off the ball, and he's never afraid to call and ask for it too, which I think is a great thing. He's always asking for it. He always wants the ball. He's not shy to kind of go in those 1v1 situations, and he's not afraid of the pressure either. So I think he's growing as a player. He's maturing. And I think maybe Pio Herrera, like you said, maybe respects him and sees this a little bit more that he will be probably an option coming off the bench. So hopefully, with that, since we get to see Linus more, because it would be a shame to see him kind of drop off this Liguilla run after we get some of these players that, are returning from injury, whilst, in their absence, he was actually doing some of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he takes part in this Liguilla run because I know he will, and I really want to see him strive to and improve himself more to Piojo. I mean, he's already done it too, to us the fans, but under Piojo, it didn't seem like Piojo was giving him enough of a chance until these injuries came, and then Piojo seeing him see what he can do, and so he's still got a lot to prove too as well.
Yeah, he does. He does. So I think we can safely say that this is not the last we've seen of Linus, and he will definitely be back for the Liguilla. And I guess that's pretty much it on the Linus situation. But let's jump back into this matchup and let's quickly talk about this Santos game before we start previewing what is really the main point of this podcast, which is the Liguilla. So the team doesn't look good up to the point where Jeremy Menes and then Cecilio Dominguez come in, and then once those two players are on the pitch, you see the team all of a sudden has a different face. And especially when Jeremy Menes comes in, because I think he's the first vital and crucial part that switches everything up, really. he added something that just was phenomenal. And we take this for granted because we didn't really appreciate it as much. But once we see it, once he comes on the pitch, he slows the game down a little bit. He kind of, promotes, let's touch the ball, let's pass, let's move, give me the ball, I'll give it back to you. There was just kind of this sense of he's running, he's stringing the passes, he's stringing the team along as the way it should be. And because of that, we found opportunities, we found chances, we found open space, and we looked just that much better. And the funny thing is, we were slower playing like that. We were much slower playing, the Menes way than the previous, way where we were just kind of giving it to Renato Ibarra and kind of just use and abuse his speed. It kind of shows that maybe you don't need to be this fast and and courageous player. Maybe you kind of just need to slow it down, think a little bit more, and not rush too much into things.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to too, like you said, having better decision making in the final third. I think it comes down to that too as well, because we always seem to be rushing the play and making silly mistakes that we don't be thinking need to be making in the final third. And like you said, Jeremy Mendes comes in and he slows things down. He seems like he takes control of it, and that's something that we need too, and it improved our decision making in the final third too as well.
I think it was really good. I think it was actually exactly what the team needed at that point. And then you add on top of that Cecilio Dominguez. And once he came in, it was kind of like, all right, now you have the best of both worlds. You have two versatile wingers who can play with their feet and who can take on opponents. And then you have kind of like, the kind of the stringer, the one that makes the passes, the playmaker, which is Jeremy Menes. He's the one switching the tempo, dictating the play, and maybe, in a sense, finding these kind of spaces and opening these spaces for said wingers. And yeah, you see it with Cecilio Dominguez, who kind of runs into the box and gets that penalty. And then of course, Jeremy Menes comes in, slots it home, and that's pretty much the end of that. But I mean, if we want to talk about how this team won, it really comes down to those two players.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, like we'll say again, too, it shouldn't have to be down to the players, because we have the talent, we have the depth to where we slot in the next player and he do just as good of a job.
Yeah, yeah, it should be more of a collective and team win than two standalone players. But I mean, at this point, we would take anything. So happy that we got back on the score sheet. Happy that some of these players looked a little bit better than previous games. But the one thing that did kind of surprise me and shocked me was defensively we did not look that sound. There was a couple of times that Santos could have easily scored, but thanks to the heroics of Agustin Marchesin, we were able to walk away with all 3 points.
Yes, shout out to Marchesini. Also, really love that jersey that he was rocking too.
Yeah.
Five saves in the game, and so the guy comes up big time a lot too as well.
Yeah, yeah. I guess these are the matches where you rely on your striker and you rely on your goalkeeper to kind of pull you through, even if the rest of the team won't do it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then losing Aguilera too
Yeah,
was
that's kind of a bummer. But we'll see. Edson can slot in there perfectly, no doubt about it. It's just about a matter of him actually taking this opportunity to maybe cement himself as the starter. Aguilera
mhm.
was maybe a little shaky in the last couple of games, but he was playing a decent game against Santos. But we'll see. Hopefully, he can have a speedy recovery. We can have him back. But it looks like he most likely will miss the whole Liguilla, whether we make it to the final or not. I think he will be out. Which is a bummer because he did have a really, really good start to the season, and it's unfortunate that he kind of misses it like that, which was kind of a nasty little injury to get. It's kind of self induced at that point. So, we got speed to him and just kind of hope that Edson Alvarez can come in and kind of just slot in that position and do what he does best, which is perform.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think Edson can do a great job, just as good as Aguilera did whenever he started the season too. And so I got no doubt with Edson. Edson's going to perform the way Edson always does.
Yeah, and hopefully he can do so. Hopefully, because we're really gonna rely on our defense come against Pumas, and we'll talk a little bit more about that right now once we start previewing this Liguilla matchup. And but before that, let's just kind of close it down to you. Who's man of the match for this Santos game?
Hmm. That's kind of I guess really Menes. I mean, I would really just give it to Menes since he scored the game winning.
Yeah, I'll give it to Jeremy Menes, just like FIFA would probably give it to Menes because he was the only one who scored a goal. But I think not only just for the goal, but I think just because of the way he kind of just switched the whole rhythm, the whole team perspective. He was just so good on and off the ball. His runs, the way he was kind of slowing things down. He was talking to his teammates, kind of, you know, telling them how to play the game and where to play. And I think it was just phenomenal to see how he switched and changed the tactics so easily. And everything he did, it seems like the ball glides with him. So I mean, the Frenchman is really going to be a really good asset once he's 100% and ready to go.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's going to come up huge. It might not be in the Liguilla, but it's good to definitely be in the Apertura.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely going to have to be. Hopefully, it is in this Clausura
Yeah,
because
hopefully it
we
does too.
need
There.
this. Uh, uh, so that pretty much does it for the Santos preview. How I mean, pretty okay, I guess. I want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily good, but not bad either in
Okay.
a sense. Yeah, guess you could say average.
A bit below average before Menace and Cecilio come in.
Yeah, I give it that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we give it maybe half a thumbs up, and hopefully the team can perform better looking at the Clásico, which is in the Liguilla. So let's talk a little bit about that because after that win against Santos, we were crowned second place, and Pumas was the only one really everyone was waiting a result on. If they would have won, I think they would have gone against Monterrey. If they would have drawn, they would be going up against us, and if they would have lost. I don't know. I wasn't really paying much attention, as you guys know that our team is American. I was kind of solely focused on that, which is kind of bad on my part because ultimately they became our rivals. So let's. You ready to jump into the Liguilla?
Yeah.
Alrighty,
Get
for
this.
a second time. Well, I guess for the first time in Eagle Eye podcast history, we're gonna be talking about the Liguilla. Before we even named this, and when we were just randomly podcasting, we kind of jumped into the Liguilla where we were playing against Cruz Azul. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. That was a while
So
back.
consecutive tournament after tournament, we will be having a Clásico. I mean,
Oh yeah. I don't know why I blanked and I'm just realizing that now.
so we had the Clásico Joven against Cruz Azul in the Apertura Liguilla. Of course, we advanced because of our position at the table. No one scored a goal, which was kind of pathetic. And now we're going up against Pumas. So we got the Clásico Capitulino, one of the more fiercer and kind of anticipated rivalries coming into this Liguilla. And I mean, I couldn't be more excited about this because, of course, we've had these kind of rivalries before. We've had these games where we kind of look back and kind of see how things have played out. And now it's an opportunity to rewrite that history and kind of elevate our play and kind of keep us going forward, because one would hope that if we were able to take down Pumas in these two legs, that it would just elevate the team, the spirit, and everything going on around in the club to kind of just catapult them even higher past the semifinals, hopefully into the finals. So, I mean, on that perspective, once everything kind of all the smoke is cleared and you see the league table and we know that Pumas is our rivals, what is your initial reactions?
I feel pretty confident actually. Uh, whenever I see that we draw Pumas, I like this draw. I see that there are rivals. It's a Clásico that's coming up, and I feel like knowing that this is a Clásico, I feel like the team and Piojo, they're gonna want to take it to the next level and go out and advance and get the W. Obviously, the first leg is gonna be away, and then the return leg, I feel like with it being an early game too at 7:30, I don't think attendance has really been that great whenever we have these 9 o'clock games. And so I feel like the stick is going to be behind the team big time, and I feel like there's going to be a great crowd come the time too whenever this return leg comes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Whenever I saw that we drew Pumas, I was kind of like a little bit disappointed because I would have liked either to have Morelia or Tijuana just because they would have been a bit of an easier rival. And the only reason why I would have wanted something a little bit easier was because of the way we've been playing, our form, everything. But still, I'll take this. Of course, in order to be the best, you have to beat the rest, and that was always going to entitle a really tough opponent, whether that been Pumas or not. Nico Castillo right now is in form, which is a little bit of a scary situation. Kind of like how he was in the beginning of the tournament too. So we'll talk specifics and how we think we can break him down and how we can break this Puma side down. But I think that I think it's a pretty good draw. For a neutral side, it's a really good draw. I mean, you get to see a Clásico right away, and it's gonna be one of those games where I'm expecting a lot of action, and hopefully a lot of goals on our, for our side.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting some goals too. Now that we see what Menez can do to the game, how he came in and changed the game. Actually, we'll talk lineup in a minute. He'll actually be starting, and so it's exciting to see that back. Seeing Uribe and Menez partnership too as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, definitely. So let's preview this matchup. First matchup is gonna be tomorrow, so it's coming at us right away. We don't even have really much time to breathe. But first matchup is tomorrow at the Estadios Olímpico in Seúl. It's gonna be at 5:30 Pacific time, 7 o'clock Central time, which is your time, and Mexico time, and of course for all our friends down at the East Coast, that is 8:30 your time. So. Do you think that's a pretty good time to play? I think that's actually pretty decent.
I'm just not realizing, whenever I tweeted that we're potting today, I keep putting Eastern time instead of Pacific time. I keep
I,
putting 5 Eastern.
I'm always
And
waiting
so
for someone to call you out on it. And I was like, it's not gonna be me. I'm gonna let one of these people to let Dylan know.
just take the account away from me, man. I'm not just gonna
more
sign out.
more technical difficulties from Dylan, but yeah, it's a good time to play. And then of course the return leg is going to be Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Central time, and again that's 8 o'clock Eastern time, all on Univision and their great network that is Univision Deportes. So coming into this matchup, I think we both kind of have this kind of high hope for the team, but should we be a little bit worried about this Puma side who recently looks like they found form?
Yeah, I think so a little bit. It's gonna come down to the way defense handles it because obviously you can't compare this leg compared to whenever we played them in the Clausura in the beginning of the season because now they're just two totally different teams. It's not the same teams that played in the beginning of the season when the season started.
Yeah.
And so it's going to come down to see how this team plays and how Piojo handles Nico Castillo because this is a healthy and informed Nico Castillo, so we're just going to have to see how Piojo holds down the fort with him.
Yep. But I mean, a lot of people would be like, but this is 2 against 7. You would imagine 2 would be a little bit, like they would be the automatic favorites. But to be honest, we're not playing like the second team. Even though we only lost 2 games this whole season, which sounds ridiculous to me, but we drew a lot of those games too. So I mean, it's not like we were winning constantly and we were being this better side. And Pumas, even though they are 7th place, they're not playing like a 7th place team. So it's really up in the air.
Yeah, 8 draws the whole season, man. 8 draws, and
Which
you go
is
back and you go back and look at it, and you think to yourself, how many of those draws could actually been wins?
Yeah, yeah.
Name a lot of
At
them
least
too.
a couple, at least 3.
Yeah, and then from there we could probably be fighting for first with the Luca.
Yep, yep. I mean, that's what 16 points dropped because of all those draws.
8 times, yeah,
Yeah,
16 points.
unbelievable. Well, I mean, all we can hope for is something better than what we saw last tournament against Cruz Azul, and hopefully we don't end up walking away with the 2-0 draws. Which I mean, if it's on the table, I'll take it. If it's on the table, I'll take it. It means we'll go into the semifinals, but that's gonna be a whole different story too. So I think this team's actually going to perform better than last season. I think we have a much better squad. We have a much better team going forward, and you know, luckily enough, we have some of our players who are going to be healthy. So let's talk specifics. Let's talk tomorrow, and then we'll kind of try to talk about the future and talk about Saturday's matchup, even though that's going to be a little bit difficult, knowing that we don't know exactly what's going to happen Wednesday, but we'll still give it a go at it. But we know exactly what's possibly going to be going down tomorrow. At least we know the lineup. So, you want to give us the lineup for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll do that. Obviously, much is seen in goal. Equipo Aguilar, Edson, Valdez, Vargas, Uribe, Rodriguez, Ibarra, Dominguez, Menez, and Peralta.
And that is your starting 11, ladies and gentlemen, for tomorrow. Our Aguilas going by that traditional 4-2-3-1. Again, Oribe Peralta is going to be that lone striker. He hasn't really been the best. He hasn't really created much, and really a very, very worrisome sign. But I mean, at this point, it's either him or Henry, and really, they're probably both at the same level.
Yeah, I really hated to see Aguilera go down. It kind of might sound bad, but I really wanted to see Henry get in there to see what Henry could do. Because you see Cecilio, you see Mendes come in, you see them go out and perform really good too. And I kind of made me think to myself, what if Henry came out and performed the same way too?
Yeah.
Performed good, and so it'd be interesting to see when he comes in, if he comes in at all tomorrow.
I think he will. I think if because I think Bill Herrera said it in his press conference today. We were going out there to score a goal. We're going out there to get a result, and we have to score a goal because it means nothing to be at second place that high in the table without having some advantage going home.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So
So I mean,
yeah,
on that front, for I think if we need to go, Henry's coming in.
yeah, I think so. It comes down to the way Uribe is playing too.
Let's be honest.
It's,
I think we're at this point. I feel like we're playing with 10 players because Oribe is just not doing enough in that aspect. You know, I mean,
yeah,
they were talking about this too in his press conference today for Pio Herrera that Oribe Peralta isn't in the best form while Nico Castillo looks like he's tearing it up. And Piojo kind of said, well, yeah, Nico Castillo's kind of like this out and out striker. He's just focusing on that. He's like Oribe Peralta, while he may not be our goal scorer, he's doing a lot more. He's being creative. He's kind of like being the creativity. And whilst a lot of people will be like, well, he only has one assist, I can see why he says that because he drops off the shoulders off the defenders. He drops back, he receives the ball, he shields it, and then he tries to distribute. The problem is, even when he does that, he's not even in a position where he can help the team out. It looks like it's just a waste of a player at that point.
mhm.
Hopefully, now that Manis is coming back on the pitch, he'll take care of that. He'll open those spaces in order Peralta can focus on hopefully scoring goals. Because let's be honest, this has been one of his worst seasons. No, his worst season in an America jersey.
Yeah, and it still gets to me, man, that Piojo came out and said that Uribe's under this pressure because he doesn't think he's gonna make the World Cup roster. You would think he'd get the hint if he called up in March. More than likely he'd called up for in May. Whenever it comes time to those friendlies and making the final list.
Either way, though, I mean, that would motivate a player more to go out there and perform.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at too. Like you think he'd go out and perform really. I don't know, man. I don't see why this pressure is getting to him.
And they shouldn't. And I think he's been one of those players who knows what pressure is, so he should be able to ride above it. He said it himself. This is going to be his last World Cup, and will be the last time he wears a Mexico jersey if he goes to the World Cup. I would imagine he'd want to go off on a high note like that. So the fact that he isn't performing, I mean, he could easily turn it around. He can easily score, in each single game and lead us to the championship, and that would be maybe enough merit to take him to the World Cup because he would be in that form. But he first of all he has to put the ball in the back of the net, which he hasn't been able to do so in what since Pachuca.
I think so. He only has 3 goals on the season so far.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say I think it is Pachuca.
Wow. Wow, that's ridiculous. Well, either way, he's gonna be our lone striker. I mean, at this point, how do you see this how do you see this team kind of scoring goals with Oribe Peralta, who's supposed to be our striker, isn't really even doing striker things?
I don't know, man. it's just really to see how. Gosh, that's a really hard question to answer. I mean, because I mean, like you said, it just feels like we're playing with 10 players
Yeah, and the
on
reason
the
I ask
pitch.
that is because myself included does not have an answer. I feel like we're kind of carrying a little bit of a dead weight that
Hmm.
it's kind of worrisome because I'm like, well, if there's no one up top, and just how do we kind of get into this? How do we, the easy way out of this is, oh, let the wingers do that job, cut inside and take a shot. But you know, you would imagine Pumas would have had that covered already. So it's not going to be so easy for Cecilio Dominguez to get the ball out wide, cut in, and shoot. You know, he's probably going to have opportunities to cut inside and cross. But then at that point, who's in the box?
And it's not like we do it all the time too. We're not doing about it too.
Yeah.
I seem
So,
they're always playing through him.
so the answer, I think, is going to be Menace.
I mean, it's gonna be somebody, man. And then, like you said, if Henry comes in, just see how that goes too. Because we've talked about Henry playing up top by himself, and it just seems like he's not comfortable doing that by himself.
He's not. He's not. He's not there yet. And I think the player I mentioned Menace, but I think someone who's going to come and support him a lot too is going to be Mateus Uribe. I think those two
Hmm.
players are going to have to link up very well this matchup tomorrow and kind of put out, kind of be the face of the attacking side for us. And with them doing kind of most of the heavy lifting, I think it gives merit for Cecil Dominguez, Renato Ibarra, and dare I say Oribe Peralta to get inside into some really good positions to score goals.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man.
So I think moving forward, I think America is gonna have to be quick and calm about their situation, their decision making. I think that's where Menace is gonna come play. Because even though he kind of slows the tempo down, his movement and his passing is not slow whatsoever. I think it's a very fast pass that just kind of transitions into a slower build of play. So I think on that side, I think we'll be good. And as long as we don't make a mistake and we don't give wrong passes, we should be fine and we should find some spaces. And as long as we're clinical, which sounds pretty far fetched, but as long as we're clinical, we can walk away with a pretty good result. And by a result, I think a 1-1 or a 2-2 or anything with us walking away with the victory sounds like a pretty good result. I don't think losing a matchup, even by scoring a goal, will help us out.
No, not definitely. So I think we're gonna have to walk away with a win here.
A win or at least a draw, and a draw is even cutting a little bit too close.
Mm.
Because I think at this point, you're walking into the Azteca, you should have somewhat of a lead, especially to put Pumas under that pressure. Because then, we work great against teams that open up space. Because we have that pace, we have those wingers that can utilize that and kind of finish teams off like that. But in order to get that space, in order to break that Pumas defense like that, you're gonna have to go into the Azteca with at least somewhat of an advantage to have over Pumas.
Oh, definitely, man. The stakes gonna be behind the team. The fans gonna be behind the team. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough place and atmosphere for Pumas.
Yep. Now the team just has to put themselves in the right position, and hopefully, we don't get a repeat of what happened against Toronto.
Oh yeah, definitely,
So,
man.
as much as I hate to bring that up, there's still open wounds that still haven't healed, but we need to be better. We need to be smarter, and we need to anticipate that Pumas, whilst maybe they're seventh place, they do come on and they have been playing really well. So I think we talked a little bit about what America needs to do going forward and how we can score goals. Let's talk a little bit about the defense because I think this is going to be the most important part of this matchup. Puma's main man, of course, as everyone knows, is Nico Castillo. I think what worked so well last game when we played against them, and remember, this was a Nico Castillo that was still in form back then in the beginning of the season. I think what worked so well that game, and I think needs to happen again tomorrow and Saturday, is the fact that Bruno Valdez was closely man marking him. I think that worked so well because whilst it doesn't look like it, Bruno Valdez is a very, very strong person. He can go, he can challenge, he can contest for a ball, and he will get hit and he won't even bat an eye. And I think that's what he needs to do. I think that's what Piojo needs to see that it worked so well last time. It put Nico Castillo in a very uncomfortable position because he wasn't able to move freely as in other games where they kind of just let him do his thing and then close him down when he does have the ball. I think with Bruno Valdez always there breathing down his neck, it kind of throws his game off, And we saw that in the early season of the Clausura. Now let's see if he's able to prove that and do it again in the Liguilla. And I know it's a lot to ask for 2 games for 180 minutes to clearly just man mark your player. Edson is going to have to help out a lot too whenever possible. But I think, Bruno Valdez is going to be the key player for these matchups.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with you, man. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Is the way Bruno Valdez man marked Nico Castillo frustrated him too. And to go on a little side note, a little bit of side note too. I think Guido's going to be important. I feel like we haven't mentioned Guido a lot. You see the way Guido works, the way Guido is. I don't know. Would you say maybe debatable for the person that is our best midfielder right now compared to Mateus Uribe? Guido's so clinical in that midfield position, that holding row, and it's going to come down to him too. Whenever he comes to stopping passes, stopping defenders or making their runs and everything.
Yeah, he's going to be very important too, kind of just closing down that, gap between midfield and defense. I think he's starting to pick up his form. I think against Santos, he had a much better game than he did against Puebla. And I think slowly he's returning back to that, Guido that we once knew. So I think, yeah, he's going to be a very important player going forward, and also in the defensive side, because like you said, he gives Mateus Uribe that liberty to go forward, and he covers spaces like, there's no tomorrow. So he will be important. But I think it's so easy to kind of just bypass him with a long ball to Nico Castillo, where again, that's where Bruno Valdez is gonna have to come in and do his man marking. But I think, yes, when Pumas does want to play out the back and they do want to kind of get America with the ball on the ground, I think Guido Rodriguez is gonna be the first line of defense that's usually for the most part gonna stop Pumas at bay.
Yes, yeah, I definitely think that, man. And it's good to see Guido coming back too.
Yeah, it's nice to see some of these players kind of retain their form. Hopefully now we can say the same thing about Mateus Uribe tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. To see how he does, going forward too. Whenever he's on the ball too, as well, and distributing too.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about Pumas since we don't really talk and really know about him. But I mean, I would imagine that Nico Castillo is not the only way for them to score a goal. What else do you think that they could try against us that maybe other teams have done that will probably maybe hurt us?
See, maybe catches on the counter. I mean, I know it's like a couple times too. Teams have been able to sit back, but I don't really see Pumas doing that, especially with them being home. I feel like when they're going to go out, they're going to press us a little bit too to have us create some spaces and just opening up some holes too as well to get in on goal. Just have a chance to score too as well.
That left hand side of the pitch for us with Carlos Vargas, that's probably going to be one of their go-to attacking sides.
I mean, I'm looking at some stats. I feel like this is from the whole year, including the Apertura, not just
The Clausura.
separated, not separated from the Clausura. But I mean, I'm getting some SOFR score. I mean, Nico Castillo is really, really a dominant scorer. As we continue to say, through 26 matches, 16 goals, and the next person that's next to him has played 32, and he only has 4 goals.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, a lot of people saying that maybe we're previewing our new striker for the next season, which I think we've talked about this on our group chat. We would love to see Nico Castillo in an America jersey, even though he's worn a Pumas jersey. But um, I really highly doubt that's gonna happen. I don't think the Pumas, directors and everything that goes on in that club is gonna sell Nico Castillo to America. Just because it wouldn't be a smart move on their end. But who knows? Everything could change. Everything could be possible. But I really highly doubt we'll see the Chilean come play for us.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I know this is kind of off topic, but I was reading some reports actually that he's going back to Europe.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look at the season he's having. He could easily tear it up in whatever league, in the right team, of course.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
That's enough praise for a Pumas player. So let's go back to what you were talking about. You were talking about the Pumas side, whether what because I think a lot of people see what Vargas isn't, which he had actually what the best game last game, right? Correct, if I'm not mistaken, he SofaScore gave him the best game.
Yeah, SofaScore gave him a 7.7, and I was like, well, SofaScore sometimes can't
Well, but the thing is
always
here
win.
that there was never really a point in the match where you're like, oh my God, Vargas, here we go again. It was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't. It's not I mean, it's not really the Vargas that had the start of the season. Here lately, but to me, he's been a little bit inconsistent. But it's good to see him, shine like that in the last game, and then going into the Liguilla too as well.
Yeah. So hopefully maybe that side will be a little bit more patched up. I think maybe the right hand side too will be a dangerous side for them to kind of attack on because let's face it, Paul Aguilar, I think he forgets he's a right back.
Yeah, and Jesus Gallardo can get too.
Which I mean, it could work on both sides because of course Jesus Gallardo is going to be doing his thing as well. But um,
Yeah,
it's frustrating to see Paul Aguilar. Don't get me wrong, I like that he goes up and he tries to support in the attack, but he should not be the central forward diving in the box for a ball. Like that should not be his place.
yeah, yeah. And he stayed up there too long. I mean, like, yeah, no, and
Yeah, he does. He does.
the fullbacks. Do you mean, yeah, they do make the runs, they overlap and everything like that. But at some point, you're gonna have to come back to your position. He doesn't do that all the time. Like, you just see him stay up there the whole time.
I think he's gotten so used to this that no one's actually said anything about this to him, except maybe Juan Carlos Osorio. But you just see him, and when the play ends, he's walking back to his position. He's not jogging. He's not trotting. He's literally walking.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It's just he's got to figure it out too, man. He's used to. I mean, like you said, he's used to it, but at the same time, man, it's not good in the end too, as well for the team.
It's not. So maybe those are two sides where Pumas will probably try to do their bidding. But I think overall we can overcome this Puma side and like we said, get the result.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I mean, but like the silly mistakes, that we keep saying, those things got to be addressed for not just this against Pumas, but for the rest of the season too. If we want to go on and win.
No, I agree. I agree. So, coming into this matchup tomorrow, do you think we're gonna see a very conservative side of America, where we're gonna see an America kind of go toe to toe with Pumas, or we're gonna kind of play the game out, hold out, and try to get them on the counter? What do you think is gonna be Piojo's kind of train of thought going into this game?
Well, knowing that Piojo in his press conference said like he's going to come out and get goals, I feel like it'd be pretty aggressive, going out and doing whatever they can to get a goal. I mean, like we said, I feel like Menez is going to be a key part to this because we see how Menez came in and impacted the game, and Cecilio Dominguez too as well. I mean, you see these players come out and feel like they got something to prove. It almost seemed like to me, and to know that these players are still important to the team and that these players are impactful players too as well.
I think the best way to walk out away with a result and get what we want is to play kind of that slow moving, slow build up play. Hold on to the ball, just touch it around. Frustrate Pumas if you have to. That means it's going to be a frustrating game for us and a boring game for us, but by all means do so if you can get the goal and you can get the kind of away result. Because at the end of the day, I think me and you have kind of thrown away. We need to play this beautiful, sexy soccer. At this point, it's just give me the result. I don't care how you got it, where you got it, and when you got it. It's just get it so we can move on to the next game.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think so, man. And playing that slow, pace game, thinking what you're gonna do next. I think that really helps too in the decision making too as well. And I think the safe pass is going to be the best pass. Whether it be passing it back to, maybe Edson or Bruno Valdez. If that's the safest pass, then make that pass.
Yeah. Yeah, don't put any of your teammates at risk in that sense. Just don't give away a ball cheaply because Pumas will hurt you. Pumas will get you on the counterattack. So play smart, be collective about things, and I think really just go out there and prove that we're the better side. Really, proof. It's a World Cup year. Some of these players want a spot in their national team. Go out there and prove it.
Yeah, definitely, man. And there's no doubt, dude, that I think we can go out and get a good result.
Yeah, I think so. I believe that we can, and I believe we will. So, give me a prediction for Wednesday.
I go 2-0. The medical win.
2-0. 2-0. Okay. I'm going with a 1-0 win for us. 1-0. Uh I think with that pretty much wraps it up. I think we can go into this deck and kind of do things right. So, assuming that we walk away with that result in the Azteca, I think it's just let Pumas come at you, get them on the break, get them on the counter, get a goal, and then get the press them even more, because at that point, it's just everything's up for grabs.
Right, right, yeah.
So that's assuming that our predictions come right and we walk away with a pretty good away goal and a win. Let's kind of preview if things don't go right. Let's go worst case scenario. Let's say we lose by at least a goal or two. What next? What then? What do we do at the Estadio Azteca? Because this would be, you know, reminiscing what happened against Toronto.
I'm dropping stuff over here. I'm sorry if I heard that.
Again,
Drop my
technical
mouse.
difficulties from the Eagle Eye podcast. It wouldn't be a podcast without them. So
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
yeah, so let's kind of talk about worst case scenario. Let's say we go back to the Azteca, we lost 1-0, 2-0, whatever the difference is, by a goal or two goals. What do you think the team needs to do in order to kind of overcome that? Because it will be kind of shades of Toronto past. What do you think needs to be done in that sense? Because let's face it, it's anything is possible. So it could be well that we can go into this match at the Azteca in the second leg with a loss.
I feel like that. I feel like if it was a loss, the team would notice that. I feel like the team would respond, and it's at home. You're gonna have the fans behind you. You're gonna have the atmosphere behind you, and that team gonna ride on that and go out and get the result that should have gotten the first leg. I think that the atmosphere and the team, the players that we got definitely can pull that off in the Azteca too as well. It's gonna have to be our game though, and in our stadium, it's got on our home turf. We're gonna have to protect home turf and play our game, play the medical way. Play the way that you can go out and get the result, which is I think like we've said too, time and time again. Now that we've seen Mendes how he took control of the game against Santos, just slow, calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, and I think maybe some of these players would, if worst case scenario was to happen, I think some of these players, they faced it against Toronto. They faced that humiliation. They kind of want this, in a way, it would kind of make up for that, in the sense that you came back and actually proved that you can do it. So hopefully, in that sense, they would be able to come out and get the result. But I think we're both hopeful enough that we can walk away with a win at Seoul, and then take it back to the Azteca, and then just kind of dictate it from there.
Yeah, yeah, I think so, man. It's gonna be interesting to see how the game turns out to be tomorrow.
Yeah, let me read real quickly from right here in the chat. Alex Francia, excuse me if I butchered that, said we can't keep a clean sheet with Edson and Vargas in the back line. Pumas will score. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, we had Edson and Vargas in the back line in the first leg. I mean, not in the first leg, in the first game, and they didn't score.
That's true.
Really, you're gonna put down two players. Edson always being Edson. Playing the game that he knows, and yeah, I mean, you've seen Vargas play inconsistently and everything like that too as well. But I mean, this is a team also that we played obviously in the beginning of the season. So I mean, you would think these players would learn from mistakes too. They think they'd see how the style of play is going to go too as well. And so, I'm pretty optimistic about having Edson and Vargas in the back line.
Yeah, I think they can do so. I think they can do so. All right, in order just to wrap up this Liga, one last question: do we or do we not throw ourselves for a chilena?
No, let's not do that again.
So no
Let's not
chilena.
just no Chilena.
No chilena. So Matias Uribe, that goes for you. No chilena. We don't want to risk a red card again, just like at the beginning of the season. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for the Liguilla. It's gonna be hopefully an America win tomorrow, and then that means at the Azteca, whatever the result may be, as long as we get through. I think really at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting to see how well this team can perform. I think Piojo has a lot to prove. I think these players have a lot to prove. There's a lot of hype coming into this season, this clausura, and now that they're at this point, the objective was to finish in a high place and make it into the Liguilla. We did so. We already failed in the Conca Champions. I think there's no room for failure, and really, what only salvages the season is a trophy.
Yeah, I think so, man. Like we said at the beginning of the season, we'd rather have the Champions League trophy, but I mean, we failed that, and so now we got to go out and get this one.
Yeah, and hopefully we can, and hopefully we can perform. And like I said, I think America can go out there tomorrow and really prove it, and hopefully get a goal, and with that, also get the W. So vamos America, like they said, like our friend right there, Alex said, vamos. Hopefully, we can go out there and really prove and really get a good result. That's all I really want, a good result, whether that be the draw or the win, something that we can take away to this. Teca. Anything you want to add on to this Liguilla preview?
No, not to the Liguilla preview, but I do want to say that if Chucho Benitez would have been 32 today, I saw that. Rest in peace to our former striker Chucho Benitez. It's sad to see how how he passed away and to talk about that. But rest in peace to him. And he's always missed. I still remember him playing in a Medica jersey about the time whenever I did become a Medica fan too as well. And I love his style of play and the way he played and everything.
He was such a crucial player in this, and in that same Liga run where we played against Pumas, and then obviously went to go play against Monterrey. He scored a wonderful goal there too, and then of course in the final. So yeah, rest in peace, Chucho. Our prayers go out to his family, and so sad and unfortunate that a player like that has left the earth in the way he did, and well, you can only hope for his family to be kind of at peace with that. So again, rest in peace, Chucho. 32 years old. Wow, he would have been still young. It just goes to show that life's a bit cruel sometimes. And yeah, he was very young. So yeah, it would have been nice to see what he would have been able to do. Maybe Ecuador would have been in the World Cup because of him.
Yeah, probably would have, but it's just sad to see him go, man. I still remember whenever I read that he passed away. Man, I was really sad.
Yeah, I remember it was ESPN Deporte was covering it the whole time, and yeah, it was a tragic news. So, it's unfortunate, but it's it's unfortunately that these are things of life, and hopefully in never happens again. But I think I would say he in his short time that he played, I think he cemented himself as maybe possibly a club legend.
Yeah, I think so. I really think he did because he did so much for the club and the way he played too. You got to remember that partnership he had with Raul Jimenez too.
Yep, the Raul Jimenez partnership. I will always forget that kiss he gave Boso, but he put his hand like this, so they didn't really touch lips. I don't know. People made a big deal about it. I thought it was cool, but rest in peace, Chucho. And 32 years old. Wow. You know, always will be remembered for his performances in an America jersey, and of course wherever he played at as well.
Definitely.
Definitely. So if you don't have anything else to add about the Liguilla, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. It's been episode 18. We'll be back next week on Tuesday. So, regardless of whatever the score is, and regardless whether we make it into the next round or not, we both will be here. Hopefully, it's not the end of the podcast for the Clausura. Hopefully, we can go in advance, but it's kind of how things go now. You kind of rely on the team to kind of push this thing going forward. But regardless of whatever it may be, we will be back next week. We'll talk about everything that happened against Pumas at Seul, at the Estadio Azteca. But if you guys cannot wait to hear our opinions, our thoughts on what's going on, make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter because we will be live tweeting the match tomorrow. We'll be giving you guys all our thoughts, all our emotions, and everything that's going on. And we'll also be letting you guys know a little bit more about this whole giveaway situation. So, if you guys would like to, again, that is at Eagle iPod. Make sure you guys do follow us. We'll have you guys covered on everything in the Twitter handle. And if you guys ever miss a live show for whatever reason, make sure you guys do follow us on iCloud and SoundCloud. Wait, I said
iCloud
iCloud,
or
right?
SoundCloud.
I mean iTunes and SoundCloud. Sorry, don't follow us on iCloud because we do not have an iCloud for the podcast. Um, I don't know what happened to my train of thought there, but make sure you guys do have us. You do subscribe to us on iTunes and follow us on. There it goes. I was gonna say iCloud again, and make sure you guys follow us on SoundCloud. We appreciate all you guys' support and for all of you guys who do take us on the go. So, Dylan, anything else you want to add on?
No, I mean, I'm just finally glad this semester is almost over for me.
Semester's almost over. Season's almost over. World Cup is just around the corner for all of you guys who are antsy and anticipating. Whoever has FIFA 18, make sure you guys do wait till May 29th. We will be getting an update. And it should be fun to play with the Mexican national team in that front. So I think that pretty much does it for us in this Liguilla preview.
Yes, I think that does. We covered everything pretty much.
I think so too. So this has been the episode 18 of the Eagle Eye podcast. It's been a wonderful time. We're talking Liguilla, talking quarterfinals against Pumas. We'll see what happens tomorrow and Saturday. Hopefully our team can make it onto the next round. Vamos America. Let's go for the 13th title. And hopefully we can prove to all these naysayers that's right. I'm talking to you, Chivas people, that we are the better team in Mexico. Just because you win a title after 50-something years doesn't mean you can come and start boasting, saying that you're this and you're that. Because we're going to make sure that you guys go to the World Cup and perform very, very poorly. Because me and Dylan will fly out and we are gonna pop your guys' tires so you guys make it to the game late. And that is the dedication we have.
Yes, very, very dedicated. I already got my plane ticket.
You got a plane ticket? I was going by boat. I was gonna take like about 2 to 3 weeks. I was gonna like get shipped it inside a container. But okay, I guess I have to redo my plans there. Okay. Either way, thank you guys for joining the Eagle Eye podcast again. It's been episode 18. Thank you guys for all your guys' support. Make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter at Eagle Eye Podcast. As always, thank you, Dylan, for coming on and being the best co-host I can ever ask for.
Oh, try to be the best co-host, man.
Alrighty, well, we'll be talking soon briefly about this giveaway. We'll let you guys know as well. So again, thank you. Vamos America, arriba America, and like always, make sure you guys tune in and see you guys next week. And until next time, take care, everyone.